Good afternoon. I know you just heard from me this morning, but here I am with another inspired email. What's that about? While I have a good connection, I want to share more that's on my heart, and I hope that you don't mind. This time around, let's talk about fear. We all have fears, whether that's a fear of being alone, a fear of commitment, a fear of not being good enough, or maybe a subconscious fear of being too good at whatever it is that we do. Fear of taking the next big step, fear of leaving our comfort zone, fear of love, fear of lack of love, or fear of our love leaving us, fear of so many things. Some people fear death. Some people don't fear death at all, but fear living fully in their purpose. What do you fear, and how do you navigate fear? I felt called to write this after seeing a video where a young woman was spreading a lot of fear about fearing. She said, be careful what you fear, because through the law of attraction, you're going to immediately manifest whatever it is that you fear. She went on to talk about the skeletons in your closet, falling out and whatnot because of your fears. And I'm here to tell you instead that fear can be joyous. Fear can bring light. Fear is nothing to fear. Let's talk about that. Me personally, I feel afraid often because in the line of following purpose that I'm living, I'm always crossing new boundaries. When I was asked to coordinate this most recent medical service trip to Haiti, I felt really afraid about it. Over 6 months later, when it was time to depart, we found out the hospitals were on strike and more than half the group wasn't going to be coming. I felt afraid about that. While we were there, we got news of protests that are really borderline riots and shootings due to the elections. I felt something we call fear. Did all of this fear manifest into having a terrible trip where all of my worst nightmares came true due to the law of attraction? No, not at all. Everything went great. Let's talk about why. First of all, it's my belief that we're not simply the victims of our own thoughts. You have more protection than that. Just because you think something quote unquote negative, it doesn't mean that it's automatically going to pop up into existence. Feel free to feel what you feel. Feel your feelings. Whatever religion or line of spirituality that you follow, I'm sure it includes having some form of protection. Whether you pray to God, Allah, Oludumare, Jesus, the angels, the ancestors, or a combination of all of those, you believe in a higher power who loves you and protects you most likely. Trust that it's okay for you to process your feelings without anything bad happening. Secondly, your feelings are meant to guide you to correct judgment. You feel for a reason. Consider your feelings to be an alarm. When that alarm rings, that's something to pay attention to. I felt afraid to coordinate the Haiti trip because I wanted to make sure that I was prepared and followed all the way through. There was no funding available at one point to cover my trip even. I needed to get prepared and I needed to find funding. My fear taught me that. When we found out about the chaos happening on the ground, we needed to prepare and adjust our plan to make sure that we were safe. My fear guided me to take the right steps. When the protests and the shootings jumped off, we needed to stay away from those areas. Also, I needed to have enough good sense to check on safety in surrounding areas before we departed the compound each morning. My fear kept my idealism in check. Shortly before I left the country this month, I was talking with a friend about fear. He said when he feels fear, he thanks the fear for being here and asks it, what are you here to teach me? I think that's a great way to address it. Instead of feeling paralyzed or punishing yourself because you feel fear, ask it what is here to teach you, how is here to guide you. When you explore the fear without being afraid of its presence, you can find out if it's valid or if it's just left over from a past event. If it's just leftover fear, you can talk to it. You can tell it, thank you for being here, but you're not needed right now in this situation. For example, you may be in a new relationship and feeling fears popping up from your past relationships. Or you may be at a new job and you feel afraid because of something that happened with your old boss and you think it might happen again with your new boss. In closing, and this is a short post, fear can be a friend. It signals either an unhealed area from the past that needs to be addressed or a present area that needs more thought before taking action. Take your time and allow the message of the fear to come through. I love you, and reach out back to me. Write me back or comment. Let me know how you're feeling and if you're afraid of anything and if this helps you to transcend that fear.